Hey everybody, Spaz here, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of But Is It Power Pop? And I'm going to start off with the very first Power Pop artist ever, in my opinion, Mr. Buddy Holly. That's right, Buddy Holly Memorial Collection, and here's a rarities collection as well. This right here is a 3 CD set, features all his great hits and lots of rarities, and this one features more rarities and alternate takes and all that fun stuff. If you really go back and if you think about things like Maybe Baby and It's So Easy, all the Buddy Holly hits influenced everyone for the Beatles and the Stones and the Kinks and everybody else. And if you mix Buddy Holly and Everly Brothers together, you get instant power pop gumbo. That's right. Buddy Holly, power pop. Don't you forget it. Next up, we have a Swedish band by the name of Honeymoons. And this right here is a great album. I have a couple singles as well. On the North of No South label, there was a lot of great stuff coming out of Sweden on the Snap and Soap Records label. Lots of great stuff, like Eggstone and This Perfect Day and Brain Pool. And Honeymoons is right up there. I highly recommend this. This is tough, edgy, melodic as sin, and it's just utterly fantastic. Sweden has a lot to answer for. They gave us ABBA, they gave us Roxette, but they gave us some of the greatest power pop and guitar pop. The Wannadies, all this great stuff came out in the 90s and 2000s, and almost all of it is worth checking out. Another band here. This is Holiday. This right here, some people call it twee pop, some people call it new wave inspired. This is definitely one of the finest pop albums of the late 90s and early 2000s. It is so chock full of great sweet melodies. There's a lot of sweet melodies on here. It's not a lot of edgy guitar. It's just really sweet, and just these melodies stick with you. But they have other stuff as well. This one here is more sort of, closer to maybe some shoegaze, edgier, and this one came afterwards, and that's not quite as good. But this one here is just chock full of fantastic fun. Next up is Mexico 70, led by Mick Bund, who was formerly in Felt. This band here, is it power pop? Not quite power pop, but it's great British guitar pop. Back when people, thought that Blur and Oasis and all those bands were great, Mexico 70 were just one of the finest of the Britpop bands. This is the Imperial Combat Hour album, which is probably their most recommended. This is the original cover, or maybe vice versa. I don't remember, but I like this first one I showed you better. Same album. But then there's also, Mick Bund had a solo album in the early 2000s. And then there's, now this right here, this is called Something for the Weekend. It's an EP. And then there's The Dust Has Come to Stay. This right here was actually the U.S. version of a Cherry Red compilation of their EPs, of which this is one of them. And then I've got like a one-track CD single. Mick Bund unfortunately passed away just a few months ago. But Mexico 70, definitely a band to check out for anybody into the whole Britpop meets British indie pop with a little bit of twee mixed in there. Next up, we have Australia's very own Michael Carpenter. This album, Baby, is his debut album, and it is fantastico, fabulous power pop, one-man power pop, one-man band, great stuff. Thinking About You is probably one of the greatest power pop songs written of all time. And Michael Carpenter, he's kind of, the way I describe him is he's the Australian Lanny Flowers, and Lanny Flowers is the American Michael Carpenter. But I don't have everything by Michael Carpenter, but I have loads of stuff here. The Finkers and other solo stuff. He's been involved in a lot of projects. This is just a portion of my collection. I'm still unpacking stuff. As you can see, boxes here. There's loads of boxes over here. and it'll take months for me to unload all this stuff. But as I unload it, I'm coming across bits and pieces of my collection. So definitely check out Michael Carpenter if you love just hooky melodies, great choruses, harmonies, everything. Michael Carpenter is probably one of the best power pop artists of the last 20, 30 years, and he's worth every bit of money you spend on it. This is Suburban Voodoo by Paul Carrack. Yes, Paul Carrack, the singer from Ace, the singer from Mike and the Mechanics. He's had hit singles on his own. Thing is back when this album came out, he was a member of Nick Lowe's band. So this album is basically produced, co-written by, and starring Nick Lowe. So this may include a lot of Paul Carrack's soulful side, but it also includes his pop side as well. The song I Need You, Always Better With You, those are worth the price of admission alone. Lots of great stuff on here, and you can tell it's very much a Nick Lowe, Paul Carrack record, and it's definitely something you should at least check out. This is actually his second solo album, but really his first in a long string of them that he still puts out great records, but they're more soulful. But definitely Paul Carrack Suburban Voodoo is something you should check out. Is it power pop? No, but it's pure pop with a lot of soul. So check that out. Paul Carrack Suburban Voodoo. And the final entry in today's But Is It Power Pop is The Motors, approved by The Motors. Yes, supposedly they took this album cover off the market because they were an unattractive bunch of guys, and the label replaced it with, the middle cover there was the replacement cover to the top cover there. But this right here, is it power pop? No, it's not all power pop, but there are some great power pop moments like Forget About You, Soul Redeemer, Dreaming Your Life Away, Breathless, Today Is a Wonderful Ballad, Airport's a great little keyboardy power pop-ish kind of thing. But yes, Approved by The Motors is a great pop record if you haven't heard it already. Plenty of bonus tracks on here. The last bonus track there, which is Picturama, Middle Bit, Soul Surrender, that's a great little 8-minute medley of 3 songs that they put together, and it sounds great. In fact, the Soul Surrender is something that Bram Tchaikovsky, by the way, this is Bram Tchaikovsky right here, if anybody didn't know he was in that band before he went solo. But Bram Tchaikovsky, on his 3rd album, he did a version of Soul Surrender, and it's definitely something worth your while. There are other 2 albums, like this one here is sort of status quo light. It was their first album, so it's very rock and roll. Does have some great tunes on it, like Dancing the Night Away, but it's not really power pop. Like I said, it's status quo light. And then their 3rd and final album was without Bram. It was just Nick Garvey and Andy McMasters, and it was very keyboard-oriented and absolutely stunningly fabulous. Love and Loneliness could be a great last power pop song, but the rest of the record is more keyboard-oriented. But The Motors is just a band that you really need to check out, especially Approved by The Motors if you are just hardcore power pop and you don't want to hear keyboards like on Tenement Steps. And that's it with this episode of But Is It Power Pop? My name is Spaz, and smell you later.